Good morning, my loves. Good
Hi,
morning,
everybody.
David.
Hello, my friend. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm grand, thank you. It's a as you can see, it's a very sunny Friday morning here, and
You're
David
looking
and I have
absolutely
been getting
radiant,
our
my
heads
friend.
together. Sorry?
You're looking absolutely radiant, my friend.
Thank you. It's I can just about see you. It's in my eyes at the moment, but it's going to go behind a tree in a minute. And yeah, we've come up with a little plan for this Friday morning, David, or rather you have, and I love it. I love this idea. So this is what we're going to be rolling with today, rather than the traditional kind of discussing of matters of importance in the words in our office. Um, David's got something fun. So take it
Just
away, David.
fingers crossed, anyway. Yeah. So, the idea, hopefully, this is going to be a regular thing if you guys enjoy
Yeah.
it. And Tim and I are still friends afterwards. We'll see. Um,
Yeah.
but welcome to the first Magic Hat sessions. So, The idea is, the idea is in this magic hat, we have a whole number of topics that we've come up with related to spirituality, all sorts of things like our physical and energetic construction. And someone has just started trimming wood outside my window. I apologize for the
Perfect
background noise
timing.
throughout this. We've got stuff to do with our energetic structure, construction. We've got initiatives. We've got higher beings, initiations. Sorry. We've got, a whole bunch of stuff related to spirituality. And the idea is that we're just going to pick one out of the hat and talk and just see what happens in the moment, in flow, unplanned, unscripted, and see what happens. Tim and I, whenever we get together, we always have these really in-depth conversations, and we're always intuitively bringing stuff through, and they grow and grow, and we're like, we should record it. That would have been really good.
Yeah.
And the idea is just to try and kind of organically recreate that today and see what happens.
Absolutely. I think it's a lovely idea, and you're quite right. We sit here and we put the world to rights, don't we, on an ascension level. And then we go in and do what we're going to do. And it's like, hang on a second, that was some quality inflow. We should have recorded it. So, I mean, these questions are kind of plucked from the field of necessity. These are the things that both David and I can see are they're questions that are being asked more than anything else. Now, this is a flow that we both run with, because we both follow and see patterns very clearly, especially within what we're all experiencing collectively. So hopefully these questions will mean something to each and every one of you. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have something for everyone, I reckon.
That's the plan. And if you've got questions, if you've got ideas of things we could talk about, let us know in the comments and we can throw them in a hat for next time as well. And this is just going to be something that we all grow together.
Absolutely. So the plot is, or the idea is, that this is going to be a regular thing at the beginning, the first Friday of every month.
Yeah,
Let's see how it all goes.
looking forward to it. Shall we
Yay.
pick the first topic?
Pick the first topic.
Drum roll, please. Angels, please guide us to a good topic to discuss today. What's it going to be? Okay, I've got one. Feels good. Feels good. What's it going to
Oh
be?
yeah.
An interesting one given the current times. Let's see if I can get this in focus. If I get
I've
myself
got my
out of the
glasses on.
camera. There we go.
Reclaiming
Reclaim.
sovereignty and soul power.
Bang. Got
It's
anything to
it's
say about that, Tim?
reclaiming sovereignty and soul power. That
A nice
couldn't
light
be
topic to
more.
start with.
Yeah. That's like tip of the pyramid at the moment, isn't
Pretty
it? It's
much, isn't it?
absolutely like it's on some kind of level that's on the question of absolutely everybody living in today's the way that I see us as light workers is we are all actively, progressively seeking to exit the matrix. Some of us have already managed to extricate ourselves, and basically a lot of us are more intertwined than others. We haven't had the opportunities, or maybe woke up a little bit later. But the plan is to exit the matrix and move into a higher construction, a a sovereign society of heart-centered individuals. So that is exactly what we are doing. We are reclaiming our sovereignty and our soul integrity and our power. And the 3D matrix that we used to be plugged into is doing absolutely everything that it possibly can to prevent us from doing so. So what are your reflections on this, David? Because I feel for me personally that that was almost like the leading the charge through the Lion's Gate. That's
Yeah,
what it was all about this year.
100%. And you said pretty much what my first thoughts were in a different language. For me, when I think of sovereignty, and this is what Melchizedek's been talking about since the Lion's Gate, what comes to my mind is freedom. And
Mm.
that you said it so beautifully within Escape from the Matrix. That is essentially what freedom is to me. It's about freedom from expectation, both societal and hierarchical, family, and personal expectation of who we are meant to be, what we're meant to be doing, what the government tells us we're meant to be doing, what we've got programmed within us from growing up saying that we're supposed to be going to doing a 9 to 5 job, going to university, 2.4 children, white picket fence, all of these different things. Because I think we grow up with such an expectation of what we are supposed to be that we never really take the time to ask, what do I want to be? There's so few people, and if you see this when you look out in the world and you see how miserable people are,
Yeah.
in most cases, that's because they've got to whatever age that they are, and they've never stopped to ask themselves, what do I want to do? And that
Mm.
is such a sad fact. And I think that is such an important question to ask ourselves, and that's what Melchizedek has been prompting, is to what do you need to be free? What do you want to do with your life? Where do you want to go? And who do you want to be? And then more importantly, what do you need to do to get there? And the support is around us in order to do that. And that's where, when I hear that sovereignty, sovereignty is a lot more than that, don't get me wrong. It's like standing in personal power and embodiment of the light and all of those different things. But to truly do all of those, I think first you have to be free. You have to know yourself. You have to be awakened. Do you know what I mean? Like, not just, I know people, I don't know about you, Tim, I know people who have a big interest in crystals and they like angels and stuff like that, but I wouldn't say they're awake in terms of, and yet I know people that are wide awake and have absolutely no interest in spirituality whatsoever.
Mm.
And I
I,
think that, yeah, sorry, go for it.
so no, I thoroughly agree with you that it's unless there's a gateway that we all have to walk through at the moment, and that gateway it's honoring the lack of veil on the third eye. So the final brick wall between us and clarity was removed at the beginning in the spring of this year on the 29th of March. The blue light came through the third eye. Essentially, we are what we would be regarded as veilless, the seven veils of amnesia that we were born with when we came into the third dimension, however many decades ago that we were born. That has been removed, and it's not just been removed for light workers, it's been removed for everybody. So there are people that are honoring what they are doing here on this world, and they can see very clearly, they can see the truth without distortion of what this world actually was, what it's transforming into, and what the potential is. But they're also hyper aware of the very, very high levels of negativity and darkness that have existed for so long here that maybe weren't visible previously due to the effectiveness of the veil. And so the litmus test is, have people honored that, and are they stepping into their truth and their power by making an effort to live by their heart rather than the rules and regulations of a preset matrix society? And so the we are going through there's a big kind of line in the sand being drawn this year. We all knew it was coming, and we can see the effects of it being kind of implemented in all of the different countries around the world. At what point does everybody bond together and say, we want something different and we aren't going to tolerate what is being presented to us? Because that is coming now. It's the big collective sovereignty test. So for those that can see, there's we're having to act upon it. That's it. But I mean, like you say, you could have a lounge full of crystals and still be completely oblivious to it all. It all depends on what your personal perspective and whether you have honored that, the gift of that sight that's been presented to you.
That's it. That's it. And you know, and a lot of that boils down to kind of our experiences and our perception of the world and how our willingness to change, I think, as well. You know,
Yeah.
if you're sat all day in a room full of crystals and you're not willing to change, that I admire your willpower.
Yeah.
But
They're all going to be very bored.
yeah, yeah, that's it. Come on, guys, we're trying here. We're trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, and that, you know, that can be a light bulb moment where something happens and everything changes. You can be going along the road one day and you experience one thing and it's like it pushes you over the top. It's like the boiling kettle, right? Like the water is always bubbling away inside, and then on one instance you boil over, and then you have that moment and you see through it and everything changes, or you decide to change, you decide to change your scenario, or whatever it is, and things can rapidly change overnight for you. But then
Mm.
I'm going to counteract that myself and say, actually, at the same time, it's also a journey. It doesn't, you know, the reclaiming the sovereignty, you can have that awakening moment overnight, but reclaiming
Mm.
sovereignty is a journey, and one that we've been on for quite a long time now. And you can't just undo the programming that we've got within us
No,
overnight. It doesn't happen, you know. We've been, and this is a journey I think really started with the Automajor activations in 2020, wasn't
absolutely.
it? Was it
Yeah.
2020 or 2022? I can't remember.
Um,
It's the years
it
are a
was
blur
between
now.
21 and 22 that, yeah, it's 2021, David. That was the year that you identified that we were suddenly playing with three extra chakras, because that was information that came from you. And all of a sudden, I could just see the Alta Major detaching in millions of people at the back of the neck, like that umbilical cord that we saw in The Matrix, the movie. And it's like, oh my God, well, that explains it all, you know. And then you could see the like the kind of like the Matrix making sad Matrix noises as it got smaller and smaller and smaller because everyone's pulling the plug on it. And of course, we're now seeing the corresponding fight back, basically. So there you go.
Yeah. And we've just
That's where
entered
we
a new
are
wave
now.
of that with this Lionsgate as well, you know, with the
Oh
upgrades
God,
that
yeah.
we received. And I honestly feel that now is the time that we actually start actively using our Automajors, whereas if it's been like a bit of a passive cleansing going on over the, you know, the last few years, and we've both done work with them, like meditations
Mm,
and workshops and stuff like that to help release it. But it's actually, you know, a tool that is going to help us to
yeah.
reforge the new earth, and it's time that we start coming together and actually doing more with it consciously. This is what Melchizedek's been guiding me to. I did a workshop last month, I think, just after the Lionsgate, you know, about creating this unified vision, because it connects us. So the Automajor connects us to every single other awakened being on the earth. Everyone that has
Yeah.
activated a high enough frequency, the Automajor, we are all connected through the unity consciousness.
We
And
are.
it's like a big giant mind network, right? We all share this space of higher mind, of higher consciousness, and we can use that to fill it with a vision for the new earth, for the world that we want
Mm,
to live in. And the as we're moving into the sixth dimension, the Automajor is merging much more with the third eye. So
yeah.
it's actually allowing us to use our abilities of our third eye to start to manifest what we're receiving through our Automajor. And it's all part of this connection. This is how we usher in the new world, is by using this, sharing, creating a vision for the new world that we want to create, sharing that through the Automajor, through the network, transmitting that as a blueprint to all of the other light workers, and all holding this vision and all manifesting it out the third eye. It's we are one
the
in this.
stuff.
It's about unity. That's like kind of the path. That's our planetary sovereignty that we're dealing with right there. Possibly getting slightly
Perfect.
off topic, but so let's flip this around a little bit. How do you reclaim your sovereignty? We've talked a little bit about what it is. What's your number one tip, Tim,
My
for
number one tip at the moment, because I'm almost hyper aware, David, of like what we're being presented with,
mm,
and there's two aspects of spirituality. There's and we've seen this playing out very much since 2020 onwards. Um, I've spoken many times about how the awakened field was divided into two in March 2020, with the head in the clouds gang, the kind of the love and light workers, which I've shamelessly fall into that category, and I know you do as well, and the truthers. And basically, then the two groups began to kind of butt heads, like rams in spring sort of thing. Like one saying, you can't progress the world forwards by being angry and sharing frightening messages, and the other side is saying, both have got valid points, mine. You can't continue to stick your head in the sand and completely ignore what's going on. So you have to then rise above all scenarios and look at the logical way in which this is progressing. And the only way that we are going to be able, well, we are being presented with the biggest gateway for reclaiming our personal sovereignty at the moment, is loving non-compliance. Okay, so we're being told to do something by groups of souls that have got absolutely no authority to do that,
mm,
although they've been handed a lot over the years. Now we're entering the period of reclamation. And so if one person says no, crushed by the matrix. If a million people say no, what they're going to do about it?
yes,
So
they
this
can do
this is where
nothing.
this is where we're going. We're reaching a collective boiling point. Again, this is another boiling point. There's lots of different boiling points. I think there's lots of different pots on the stove all going at different temperatures. This particular one is just coming to the boil. And what it requires is everybody to just turn around a unified nine, nada, nyat, no, whatever language you speak. And then we move on from that point. But it requires us to work together, not be kind of raging at the machine sort of thing, and being enticed into fights that basically reinforce the systems that they're desperate to put in place. Simply saying no and moving on to the next phase with love. And because we're building on our feet, because we're moving through this, we haven't got any kind of set system or plan in place. We then put ourselves into the arms of the universe, where everything is kind of provided for us idea wise on a need to grow basis. So that's where I see that we are coming into, and Saturn has just reversed course back into Pisces again. Can hear the collective groans, and that's going to provide us with 5 months of this boiling pot energy, where we're just kind of like doused with all of this matrix nonsense until people take action, stand up and say no. But you don't have to be angry when you do this. You don't have to be kind of like raging with the fires of truth and righteousness pouring through you. It's a simple no. And no is a complete sentence in itself. No, walking away. But we all need to do it. We all need to be collective, whether we're truthers, whether we're love and lighters, whether we're newly awakened, whether you don't give a monkey's about any of it, but you're following your heart. That's where we all need to be going.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And just to recap on one point there, I think that's really important is you said about this conflict between the love and light and the truthers and stuff like that, and you're right, both of them have a very very valid point. And I
Mm.
think that the place where the two can come together is in the control of our emotions. So
Haha. Yes.
the truthers are absolutely right. We need to bring all of this stuff out of the shadows because it needs to be transmuted. And
Mm.
the love and light we need to be keeping a higher vibration. We need to be holding the vision for the world that we want to create. But if in terms of shaping our reality, whether that's on a personal level or on a planetary level, we tune the field around us through
Mm.
two main things: our intention and our emotion. Emotion being
Yeah.
energy in motion. So
Currency.
so if you can bring the shadows out into the open and see them and understand them and then transmute them without emotion, you don't have anywhere near the impact on your personal field, on your own personal reality. If you see the truth, if you see the news come out and you get angry about it, instantly you
Mm.
begin to tune your reality at the vibration of
To
anger.
that field.
It doesn't help you, it doesn't help the planet. I get it.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've had more than enough instances of reacting in that way myself. I get it, and I will remind myself of this next time it happens for me, because it will happen again. But that is the difference. That's how we balance the two sides of it, which are completely valid, in this situation.
Good point,
And
David. Thank you.
to jump into my personal take on uh, reclaiming our sovereignty, I'm going to be cheeky and steal two, if that's all right. Um,
Mm.
Number one, know thyself. What I was talking about earlier about, people not asking themselves the question of who they are, who do you want to be, what do you want to be doing, and how do you get there? These are the questions that we need to be asking ourselves. And there's an unmasking process that happens when, all of the programs that we've taken on from our parents, from society, etc., throughout our life, we take these things on board and we adjust our personalities, our thoughts, our belief systems based on the perspectives of others that they don't know us, they don't know, it's not our truth, but we take it on. And then
Mm.
we live our life through that lens. And that is a mask. We're not really being true to ourselves and what we really want. And when we can start looking within, we can then start to see who we really are, and you can start breaking down that mask and start shifting your world into alignment with who you really are. And this, first and foremost, if you're living a life that's not your own, you're doing things that you don't want to be doing just because society tells you you should do, it creates so much anxiety and stress and overwhelm, and it triggers the nervous system. If you're a massive introvert and going to the supermarket stresses you out and creates your anxiety, don't do it just because society tells you to do it. Order your shopping online. Little
It's delivered. Yeah.
yeah, there's so many little things that if you look at your world and you actually look at yourself and you see how you react to situations and
Mm.
recognize the what's creating stress within you, then you can make changes in your life to feel freer, to be in a state where you are less anxious, where your nervous system's less triggered, and therefore you can heal more. Um, so know yourself. Just take the time to get to know yourself like you would do a new friend. Treat yourself like a new friend. And my other thing, just to say, and this has been my theme for months now, anyone that's following my channel will know this, but it's about taking control of your reality. And just to touch on this again from a minute ago, so many of us want to believe that our life book dictates every single moment of our life, and everything that happens in our life happens for a reason. Oh, it was that way because that's what it's meant to be. That's because it's divine timing, etc., etc. And those things are true in instances. I'm not discounting that whatsoever. I do say those things, but we have to remember that we have free will. That's the most important thing about this entire process. That's why the earth is what the earth is. That's why we're different to the rest of the universe. That's why this journey is so important and why it's so challenging. We have free will, and your life is your own to make of it what it is. Yes, you have a life book. Yes, there are key moments in it. This person's going to come into your life. This is what your mission is that you're supposed to be doing and stuff like that. But what you eat for dinner or the color of your underwear is not determined by the universe. These are decisions that we can make ourselves. you know, we have control over our day-to-day life. And this so links back to sovereignty and that idea of freedom, because I think it's important to recognize that we are in charge of our own lives. We're not being dictated to. Even if an angel shows up and lands in the middle of your room and says, "This is what you're meant to do," you have free will. You don't have to do that. If that's not right for you, that's your choice to make. And
Mm.
as I said, I say it so much, our world is a reflection of our thoughts, our belief systems, and our expectations, and it's created through our vibration. If you're not happy with the world that you're living in, change it. If you want to change your world, change yourself. And that is
Yeah.
not an easy thing to say. And I am not living in a perfect, idyllic world. I'm going to put my hand in the world up in the air. And I'm saying that I'm learning through this myself. I'm trying to make
Mm.
changes to take charge in that way. And it's a journey. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. But if you want to change your life, if you're not happy where you are now, you've got two choices. You stay where you are or you change it. And yeah.
That's so useful. Thank you, David.
And if you want to know more about that, if you want to know more about tuning your field, changing your vibration, I've got a free series of videos on my YouTube channel called The Hidden Truth About Manifestation or something like that. I should really know the name of my own video. I can't remember it. But it's basically something like that. If you go on my channel, you look at the playlists, you'll find it. And there's a 5-part series, including a meditation at the end, which brings everything together and helps you to realign your reality. I hope that's helpful to someone.
Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, that's go and check that out, folks, because that is where we need to be going at the moment. If you feel like you're crashing around, you're not in control, I think now's the time. It
Yeah,
really, it
it
really
is.
is.
Yeah, it
It's
is 100%. The
on
more
an
the world
individual
descends
level.
into chaos.
We're being
Yeah.
presented with, like, who are you? Are you free? Ask
Mm,
yourself that question. It's easy to say, yes, of course I'm free, but are you?
yeah.
Are you free are you free in your mind? Are you free spiritually? Are you free in your body? Are
Mm,
you free in your everyday life when you go about what you are doing and how you do it? And if you're not, if there's a no to any of those, time to start reassessing whether you actually want to free those parts up.
yeah. And if
And
the
that
answer's no,
reflects,
that's okay.
yeah, of course it's fine because
That's
that's your
okay.
free will at the end of
Yeah.
the day. It's Yeah, it's this is interesting that this is coming up at a point where free will is changing so drastically.
Mm,
So
yeah.
yeah, thank you,
And
David.
and freedom, it doesn't mean living in a camper van off grid, growing your own tomatoes, walking barefoot through a paddock. That doesn't that's not what I mean, it might be freedom to you, don't get me wrong, but that you can be free whilst living within the third dimensional society.
Mm.
How you do that, I can't tell you. That's your own personal journey, and I'm not saying that's going to be an easy journey, but
Mm.
it, freedom is a state of the mind
Mm.
above all, and you can be free. You can be free while still paying your bills, and you can be free whilst paying your tax and stuff like that. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're bound by the society that you live in. Freedom is a state of mind, and
Yeah.
if you can achieve that, then you move into flow with divine will. And when you're in flow with divine will, you're living the dream. All things are possible. There's nothing that can hold you back at that point in time.
Oh, I love that.
That's what they
Thank
tell me
you.
anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, you've nail on head. Absolutely. Thank you.
You got anything else to add on the topic? Ooh, phone ringing.
Um, do you know what? I only really that this is now it all ties in together. You start speaking about one part of the process, and it all comes together. Free will. It's I've been saying since 2018 that free will as we know it is changing because a human being that is bound by their ego will have a very different definition of free will
Mhm.
than those who are living by the heart. Okay. And I mean, you make different choices, you think differently, you speak differently, you act differently, everything about your life is completely structured around the choices that you make according to the direction of travel, the energy. So whereas we are moving into, we are deliberately moving from 3D to 5D. We've incarnated to participate with that. Yes, it's messy and difficult at the moment, but you can't alchemize an entire way of living and all of that structured consciousness without a little bit of mess. And that it is messy, and it's difficult, and a lot of people are struggling. But on the other side of it, when we are all living collectively, or the majority are living collectively by the free will of our hearts, the choices that we make are automatically different. But many would look at it as if we are giving up the free will that we'd have had when we're third dimension and our consciousness was third dimension, because it's almost like you're handing over you won't make the choices that you made that are negative or destructive or selfish or hurtful, because you are simply aligned with the heart. You're going to do what's the absolute best for yourself, your inner child, and your soul purpose. But a lot of the time, you'll be completely surrounded by people that are also living by the same choices, and we will thrive. We will thrive. We will live in peace. We will live in unity, and we will be happy. That's something that I'm really that's almost the driving core of what brings me through this process at the moment,
Mhm.
because I know that's at the other end of that.
Amen, brother. Amen. A natural evolution from free will to divine will. And what I mean
Mm.
by divine will, I mean the will of God. We
Yeah,
naturally move from a state of making free will decisions for ourselves. As we evolve, as we enlighten, we naturally just move into a place of making decisions in alignment with our higher self, with divine will and flow.
love it. Yeah, it's what it's all about, isn't it?
That's it. That's it. And together we can do it.
Yeah, we are doing it. We are
Yeah, we
doing
are,
it.
without a
Just
doubt.
feels a bit squishy at the moment, doesn't it? A bit fizzy.
Yeah, we're this process. I've said this many times before. It's like when you're trying to clean out the cupboards, and the first thing you have to do is you have to pull everything out of the cupboards, and then you
Yeah.
look around your room and you go, "My God, what have I done?"
Yeah, exactly. What have I started?
Yeah, yeah. But then you start figuring out what you want to throw away and what you want to keep, and then you start putting it all back in the cupboard, and then you go, "Oh, I've got space for new and shiny things,"
Yeah,
and
remember, you
everything
got to be
feels good.
ruthless as well. If you don't
Yeah,
need it,
that's it.
it's got to go. It's got to
That's it.
go. Well, that was a fantastic topic for
Yeah,
the first of the Magic Hat sessions, David. I think that's absolutely brilliant.
reclaiming sovereignty and soul power. We've not really talked specifically about soul power, but yeah, I can't do it. I can't get it in focus. I give up.
Mhm.
Soul power
Soul
essentially
power
is the
is
same
derived
thing.
by the choices that we make in our life
Yeah,
now, though. Like we're being guided by the divine will of our higher self, and the higher self is beginning to make more and more choices
that's it.
aligned with that divine will, which is why we're going in the direction of travel that we are. So it all just ties in with each other, doesn't it?
That's
It's
it.
beautifully
Yeah,
how it all beautiful how it all merges. So yeah, perfect topic.
yeah.
Perfect topic. Thank
So,
you.
thank you, Tim. Thank you, Magic Hat. Uh,
Yeah.
we'll be back.
Magic Hat will be back again,
Yeah.
making an appearance. I think this is something really nice to do. And like David said earlier, if anybody has got any questions
Mm,
that they feel would be, you know, good to put in the hat. Of course, we can't guarantee that that question will be asked, but it'll be stirred around, and
yeah.
with David's magical fingers, he will reach in and pluck through whatever is most necessary.
Mhm. Exactly, exactly. And yeah, we'll be back next month. What Tim and I are going to do, we're going to mix things up a little bit. We're on Tim's channel today. Next time, we're going to be on my channel.
Yeah.
So we will at me in the description as well. If you want to receive the next episode, I mean, Tim will be sharing it too, but do come and check out my channel as well. And feel free to subscribe so that you get the notification when the next part is available. And then we'll be back to Tim's the following month. We're going to keep moving around a little bit,
Yeah,
keep things fresh.
absolutely. And I've had to almost force myself to say this, because it's like it seemed subscribe and share. I think that's what you're
Yeah,
supposed to,
that's
like, subscribe and share, because it helps build both David and I up and assist with the algorithm. And if you're not subscribed, please think of subscribing to David and I. It's always very helpful. Thank
That's
you.
it, yeah. And hit that like button because, as Tim says, it goes into the algorithm. It means we can spread it further, and the further we spread it, the more people we can help, and that's what Tim and I are all about. So yeah, we appreciate your likes and your loves and your comments, and thank you so much for watching today. Thank you, Tim, for indulging me in this crazy idea, and
love it, love
yeah,
it.
me too.
Thank
It's
you.
been so much fun. I'll
It
look forward
has,
to next
hasn't it?
month. Yeah, it really has. And we'll see you guys very soon. Till us,
Yeah, love you all lots. Thank you, David.
love you,
Talk
dude.
to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Let me just get something quickly.
Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. I tell you what, that's proper Merlin, that is.
There we go. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it right.
We're going to do that right. I'm afraid I can't match you with that. That's
We need to get you
way
one
more
too.
magical than